Here is how a Nigerian and African can actually invest in US real estate. The most successful African investors I know are quietly building wealth in the United States real estate, while others are still believing that it is impossible. Most Nigerians still focus on Lagos properties and Dubai condos, but smart money is actually flowing into Houston, Dallas, and Atlanta rental property that generates consistent dollar income every single month. If you're meeting me for the first time, I am Wale Lawal. I'm a Houston-based investor agent, and I've helped over 400 people just like you to build their rental portfolio in America, talk about Houston, Dallas, Austin, and even outside of Texas. Just last month, my client from Lagos, Nigeria, closed on a new construction in Houston, Texas, which is a proof that you don't need to live or reside or be an American citizen or even have a permanent residency for you to invest in American real estate. You can invest in American real estate from any part of the world. So here is what you need to understand. US real estate investing for Africans isn't about citizenship or green cards. It's about understanding the system, preparing for the right document, and working with the professionals who actually knows how to work with foreign nationals like you. And today I will walk you through everything you need to know about building wealth through US real estate in 2025 and beyond, including ownership rules, financing, documentation, taxes, property management, and step-by-step action plan that you can actually follow today and implement today for you to become a rental property investor from any part of the world. So let's talk about the property ownership requirements. The good news is that you don't need a visa or a green card or even need to be a US citizen for you to buy a property in the US. Federal laws allow foreign nationals to purchase real estate without any restrictions. You can buy, own, rent, and sell property while living in Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, or Nairobi, or any part of the world. For example, I've been able to help a software engineer from Lagos, Nigeria, to own multiple rental units in Houston, Texas. I've also helped a banker from Accra, Ghana, to buy a rental property in Atlanta. We was buying an apartment in Atlanta, Georgia. Also, a medical doctor from Nairobi. They bought a duplex in Dallas, and they don't have any US citizenship or permanent residency. So property ownership and immigration status are completely separate things, and buying real estate does not give you the visa benefits, or your visa status does not even affect your ability to own a property in America. So let's talk about the financing option. When it comes to buying property in the United States as an African, most people assume you need to pay all cash to buy the house. That is not true. Here is the 4 options that you actually have as an African buying property in America. Number 1 is a foreign national mortgage, which allows you to put down between 25 to 35% down payment if you're a non-US citizen or you don't have a permanent residency. Some of them will also require you to have some kind of credit history, which you can also use the credit from your country to justify that. But most lenders doesn't even care about your credit history. They just care about you bringing down 30% down payment, and they will finance you 70% for you to buy the house. Now, the interest rate can be between 0.5 to 1% higher than US citizen. For example, if a US citizen is getting around 6% interest rate, you as a foreign national can expect to get around 7% interest rate to buy the same house at the same time. And the reason for this is that they kind of see you as a little bit more risky borrower because you are not based in the country. Should anything happen to that property, they will have to foreclose on it and recoup their money back. The number 2 loan available to you as a foreign national is what we call the DSCR loan. This loan is based on the rental income the property is producing, not your personal income, and is perfect for cash flowing rental properties. The number 3 loan available to you is what we call the international banks program. Some of these banks have a program like your HSBC, Citizen Banks, and some of them do require you to have between $75,000 to $80,000 balance with them when you are banking with them, and they can easily qualify you as a foreign national to buy a property in America. But the number 2 is actually the easiest one that I've helped a lot of people to do, which we call DSCR loan. The number 4 loan type you can use is what we call the portfolio loan. Some of these portfolio lenders, like your regional banks, they have a flexible rules and regulation when it comes to international borrowers with a strong financial profile. And you can easily qualify with them within 2 to 3 days of you applying. They can get you that pre-approval letter. Typically, they will still require you to bring down 30% of the purchase price. For example, if you're buying a $1 million property, they expect you to bring down $300,000. If you're buying a $200,000 property, they expect you to put down around $60,000. So you get the idea. For example, my client from Lagos bought a $420,000 property in Houston, Texas. He got a 70% financing and he put 30% down. He has no U.S. citizenship, permanent residency, or even credit history at all. His Nigerian bank statements were enough for him to get pre-approved, and he got 70% financing. He put 30% down. To the glory of God, he closed on the property last month, and now he's collecting rental income every single month. Now, let's talk about the documentation that you're going to need when you're buying real estate outside of the country as a foreign national. The paperwork is very straightforward, and if you prepare early, that will save you a lot of headache. So here's what you need. You need a valid passport. You need a proof of income from your employer, from your business, however it might be. You might also need your tax return, and also you need your bank statement to show that you have the money to actually buy the property. They might also need to verify your asset, like your investments, your business, any kind of things that you can prove to say that, hey, I'm, credit worthy and I can, go through this process of getting this loan. Now, if you have a credit report, if your country have a credit report, you might also be able to use that. But in most cases, they really don't care about your credit report if you're a foreign national. Now, you will also need to apply for ITIN, which is Individual Taxpayer ID number. This is sometimes required by some of these lenders for tax purpose, and some mortgage company can actually guide you through how to get this done in as little as 4 weeks. But again, this is not really required, but it's something that some of these lenders might tell you. If you want to cut through all this chase and get connected with the right lender that can actually make it for you in as little as 3 weeks, comment the word ready and I will get you started. And don't forget to set up your US bank account. That will be very important for you to collect your rental income and also for you to make your mortgage payment every month. Now, if you have international bank, like your Standard Chartered Bank, you can actually pay your mortgage from that same international bank. You just have to set it up, and automatically every month they withdraw the money from your international bank and they credit it to your mortgage lender. Now, here is the pro tips. You want to start preparing this document 3 to 4 weeks before you actually get ready to start for home search, because if you do that, that will reduce your headache and that will reduce a lot of pressure on you. Now, let's talk about the tax implication. You see, US taxes are very manageable with the right planning. As a foreign national, you will pay taxes on your property, and the first one is the rental income. You can choose to have a flat fee of a 30% withholding, or you can file a US tax return that will allow you to deduct expenses and lower your effective tax rate. You can deduct expenses like your property management, you can deduct expenses like your repairs, your improvements, whatever legal fees, whatever you have to do to manage your property, you can deduct that, and that will bring you down from that 30% to around 20 to 25 effective taxes that you're going to pay on that property. And this is what most of my investors actually like to do. They like to file that return. The second thing you need to pay attention to is what we call the FIRPTA. FIRPTA. When you are selling your property, 15% of the sales price will be withheld upfront by the title company. This is just a prepayment of possible capital gain taxes you might have incurred, when you own the property. And it is not an extra taxes. It is just a capital gain that you have to pay when you're selling your property. Again, if you really plan ahead, you can, really get ahead of these things, but you do have to pay taxes as a foreign national. But we also even have some way around this, that if you have a way to justify that you actually live in the US, you might be able to get an exemption, which I've helped people to do multiple times. Get an exemption from that FIRPTA, 15% taxes, and you can just be zero, or as little as 5%. Now, this is something you should also be aware of. There's something we call tax treaties. Nigerians, South African, and Egypt have a treaties that reduces withholding and provide extra benefits if you come from this country. Now, like I said before, most of my clients end up withholding around 15 to 25% effective tax rate after all deduction, which is much better than you paying that flat fee of 30% to the IRS. Now, let's talk about the property management. This is really, really essential, because once you buy the property, you need to manage it. Now, never try to manage your property from Africa. It is a recipe for stress. What I always recommend is to hire a property manager, which will charge you between 8 to 10% of your rental income. But if you're very savvy, you can actually use a software to manage the property if you are capable of doing that. But for most people, they just hire a property manager and they factor in that 8 to 10% rental property management into their numbers, into their analysis, to make sure they are buying an investment property that will pay them instead of them sinking money into that property every single month. Now, the property manager will help you to screen tenants. They will help you to collect your rents. They will help you to deal with maintenance. They will help you to deal with any legal compliance. And also, more importantly, they will give you a financial reporting every month of your property to make sure it's performing accordingly. Also, they will set up a communication channel between both of you so that you can have a, meeting with them on a periodic basis to fully understand how your property is performing. And or again, you can factor in the management cost into your analysis when you are buying that property. Also, management fees are not just an expenses, they are an investment that increases the net return by reducing vacancies and problems for you as a foreign national buying properties in America. Now, this is the big elephant in the room, the market selection strategy. How do you pick the right neighborhood? How do you pick the right market for you? You see, location is everything. You want to avoid coastal cities like your New York, like your LA, like your San Francisco, which the prices are really high and your returns are really low because this property cannot rent as high as what a Houston, Texas property are going to rent for, because Houston property, you can buy a property as little as $250,000 that will rent for $2,000. But in Los Angeles or in San Francisco, you can buy a similar property for $1 million that will only rent for $5,000. So if you look at the rent to price ratio, it just makes sense to buy in a more tenant-friendly state like your Texas. Also, you want to focus on the market growth like your Texas. I've mentioned Houston, Dallas, and Austin. You can also go to Atlanta, Georgia. You can go to Tampa, Florida, Jacksonville, Florida. You can also go to your North Carolinas, talk about your Charlotte and Raleigh. And these are very, very good markets that support, foreign investors like you. So if you need my help to get this done, you can find the link to my calendar in the description below. Schedule a meeting with me. I'll be able to dissect your situation and get you on the right track. Now, you want to look for cities with job growth, population increase, business-friendly policies, tenant-friendly, and more importantly, landlord favors law. You don't want to buy in a place that does not support landlord or that just give a lot of power to the tenant as compared to you, the landlord. So be very, very careful with that. And I just mentioned all this city again, they support, rental property investing, which means they give more power to the landlord as compared to the power they give to the tenants. Now, above all, Houston stand out with no income taxes, strong job growth, affordable entry price, like I mentioned earlier, and its landlord-friendly rules. It makes Houston so attractive to a lot of foreign investors just like you. Now, let's talk about the very popular one, EB-5 investment visa option. This is for big investors. This is not for small investors. So if you have $800,000 and above to invest, the EB-5 visa can give you a permanent residency to the United States. You and your spouse and your kids under the age of 21 can actually earn permanent residency to the EB-5 visa option. But again, this is for savvy investors. This is for big players that have a lot of money to invest, not for a, startup person with, less than $500,000 to invest. Now, EB-5 also require you creating a job. So it's for serious investors, like I said, with capitals and not for an entry-level buyers. So here are the common mistakes to avoid. And I see these all the time. Number one, you want to stop waiting for the perfect market condition. That doesn't exist. You have to take action based on your current condition, based on your current situation, and you will be glad you did. Number two, you want to choose the right professionals to help you through this process. If you delay this process, it might cost you a lot of mistakes that will cost you a lot of money. Now, also, you want to buy at the right location, because location is what you hear about real estate, and there's a reason for that. People would like to live in a better location and pay more money to rent than to just buy, live in a crappy place that they don't have the peace of mind or they are not even safe to live there. Another mistake to avoid is the underestimating cost of ownership. When you own property, you're going to pay some fees, you're going to pay some maintenance things. So you want to put aside between 7 to 10% monthly reserve for the days that things will break on that property, or maybe you need to replace your AC, you need to replace something in the house. You want to make sure you're keeping money on the side, so that way when that day happens, you're not going to be scrambled and you're not going to feel mad at yourself like you're putting money in the property. So please plan ahead, for these expenses. Another thing you want to plan ahead for is the taxes. You want to plan ahead before you buy, not after you buy, because you're going to pay taxes on your property, and this is by the government. I wish we don't have to pay taxes, but it's part of how the economy in America functions, by paying taxes. Now, you also want to avoid emotional decision. This is an investment, so you want to focus on the numbers, not on your personal feeling. If the number doesn't make sense, move on to the next one. So here is your step-by-step action plan that you can follow today to become a property owner in the United States. Number one is the financial preparation. You want to gather documents, like I mentioned, your passport, your bank account information. If you have a credit report, you can get that report. So that way you get ready and get pre-approval letter from a lender. If you want to get connected with a lender I normally use for my clients, reach out to me or comment the word ready below and I will send you that lender connection, or simply schedule a meeting on my calendar so that I can dissect your situation and make the connection from there. Now, after you've been pre-approved, you want to now select your market. Which market do you want to invest? You want to pick 1 to 2 markets to make things easier for you. I strongly recommend Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas as part of your market selection, because these markets have shown strong economic fundamentals over the years that support foreign nationals like you. The number 3 things is you want to start building your team. So if you actually work with me directly, I'm going to be building this team for you automatically, because I'm going to be your real estate broker. I will connect you with the lender, with the attorney, with the CPA, with the title companies that are very, very familiar with working with foreign investors like you. The number 4 things you should be aware of and that you should be prepared for is to analyze the property. You want to analyze any property you want to buy. Also, with my help, I can help you analyze it as well and tell you which one makes financial sense, which one will I buy for myself as an investor, or which one I will run away from, so that you can avoid all the mistakes, because I'm a local person. I've done this for myself. I've done this for multiple people, and I can save you a lot of headache. Above all, I will help you to buy in a safe place that will rent quick, that will not give you issue. Now, the number 5 things you should plan for is your due diligence. You want to do home inspection. We want to review the title of the property to make sure there's no any lien, any kind of problem on the property. And also, I'll be helping you to also analyze the market and the property as well, like I've said before. And once you do this, the next thing is to close on the house. Once we close on the house, we connect you with the property manager that will help you to manage the property. So that way you don't have to sweat about it. And now it's going to be between you and your property manager going forward. After you've successfully, managed that one for the first 5 to 6 months, we can now plan for your number 2. And this is how average people are buying real estate in the United States with little to no sweat. Now, another example is one of my clients from Lagos, Nigeria. He reached out to me about 3 months ago, and to the grace of God, we're able to help him buy a property in Katy, Texas. He's now renting for around $2,700 and is keeping around $400 in his pocket every single month after all expenses. So as you can see, investing in US real estate for Africans like you is very, very possible. It's about knowing the rules and working with the right team like myself. I've done it for multiple people and I can help you as well, because every successful African investor started where you are right now. The only difference is they took action. They connected with the right people. So if you're ready to build dollar income and generational wealth through United States real estate, feel free to schedule a Zoom meeting on my calendar. You will see my calendar link in the description below. I'll be able to dissect your situation and get you started. This is for serious African investor. It is not for people looking for shortcuts. It's not for people just dabbling through it. It is for people that are ready to implement simple but proven strategies that I've used for multiple people. So if that's someone like you, again, schedule a Zoom consultation on my calendar. You will see the link to my calendar in the description below, and I cannot wait to help you get started. If you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I am Wale Lawal. I drop a lot of educational video here every single week, and I don't want you to miss them. Now, before you go, I want you to watch this video right here where I walk you through how to buy your first or your next rental property in 2025 and beyond, step by step. So I want you to watch this video. I broke down a lot of things for you and you will find value there. Thank you so much. I will see you in the video. Bye-bye.